Nice to meet you guys. How many of you guys are first-time GDEXers? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got a bunch of you guys. I'm a first-time GDEXer as well, so yeah, shout out to the whole convention for having me out here. We're going to be talking about YouTube, and this is a presentation that I typically give at conventions in my hometown of Chicago, and it's a lot more workshop-oriented. There's going to be a lot of details about what I do on YouTube and the YouTube realm of things, and not necessarily the Twitch or Mixer or live streaming stuff, because my career is based off of YouTube and ad revenue. So you're going to learn a lot, especially about monetization, about how to make yourself known on YouTube, and a lot more from that. It's going to be a good time. All right, so a little bit more about myself, if this video can play. We were testing out the good internet a little bit earlier. A little bit about myself. Again, my name's Abdallah. I'm a Nintendo partner and influencer. I've been playing Mario Kart and Nintendo games on YouTube since 2012, and it's been a good time. How many guys know the Nintendo 3DS system? Some of you guys know 3DS. Yeah. So when the 3DS came out, there was a game called Mario Kart 7, and in Mario Kart 7, I was getting really good at it, and I would. Oh yeah, well, look at that buffering. Wow, that's pretty bad. Anyway, I would love watching YouTubers just play video games, and I wanted to do something like that myself. So ultimately, I went over, I grabbed myself a 3DS and figured out how to grab a little camcorder and recorded that for YouTube, obviously 7 years ago. We've got about over 600,000 subscribers. We've got a lot of views. What's interesting about YouTube is that there's a lot of viewers on YouTube that don't necessarily click on that subscribe button. So if I look at my analytics, I can see that we've got at least 2 million unique users on my channel every month, which is pretty cool to know, but they don't all click on the subscribe button. So hey, make sure you guys subscribe, okay? All right, so really quick, YouTube is definitely not get rich quick. It's a slow process. And yes, people do get lucky on YouTube, absolutely. If you're blowing up in Fortnite or whatever game that you're currently playing and it's really, really popular, and let's say that you get a whole bunch of viewers on it, then of course, yes, you can blow up. But for the 90% of all of us out there, there's a lot of work involved. And of course, another disclaimer is that ideally, if you guys have seen my talk yesterday, the internet is a bad place. There's going to be a lot of people that will be hiding behind anonymity and have really no consequence based off of what they say on YouTube. So you're gonna need some really thick skin in order to deal with some of the things that come your way. All right, right over here, you also need a very good hard work ethic. Sense of urgency is really good. Eye for detail, and of course, determination. At the beginning, when you start off with YouTube, you're not going to get these views that you see other YouTubers get. It's just how it is. You have to build up an audience. You have to put a lot of work into it. You got to find something that you're going to do that the rest of YouTube isn't necessarily doing. All right, anyway, this is what we're going to be talking about right over here. This is the whole game plan for this entire thing, and then we're going to end off with an AMA. You guys can ask me anything. The reason why I don't start with an AMA is because I can cover all the stuff that you guys are possibly thinking of in the presentation, and if I miss anything, by all means, I will totally answer any questions you guys want. So we're going to talk about earnings, we'll talk about the payment structure, gaining partnerships, starting a channel, maximizing social media. I'll give you some equipment recommendations, some concepts for application, and then of course, question and answer at the end. So thanks. All right, so there's a site called socialblade.com. I highly implore you guys to jump into that onto your phone and type in any of your favorite YouTubers' URL over there. And you can kind of see a general earnings rate of how much that particular YouTuber makes and how many views they get, how many subs they get. All the information that's behind the scenes is published on Social Blade. So it's interesting to see. Now, of course, you guys all know PewDiePie, right? The biggest subscribed YouTuber out there. He makes a ridiculous amount of money. You guys can type in PewDiePie over there and you can see exactly how much money he makes in a month. And this is probably outdated stats. I'm sure he makes well over $1 million a month just playing games. And yes, that's the extreme, right? We're getting you really excited about, oh man, I can make $1 million, but there is it's the potential of what you can possibly get. Anyway, so YouTube monetization requirements, you're going to need to start building your channel. And once you reach a certain threshold of 1,000 subscribers, and of course 4,000 hours of watch time within the last 12 months, your YouTube channel can get ready to get monetized. And when monetization happens on YouTube, 45% of it automatically is gone to YouTube. And that's a big chunk if you think about it, 45%. Like imagine like you guys work retail or you guys work your main jobs. Like imagine if 45 of your entire allotment was just gone. And yes, we all pay taxes and that's a big chunk of it, but YouTube takes 45 and you get the 55 split. The 55 split could necessarily be with you and if you signed up for a network, and I'll go over networks later, or if you're just going solo, you're gonna get that 55 yourself. Now, speaking of getting 55% of your earnings yourself, is the best way of doing that is through Google AdSense. This is absolutely something that's free that you can sign up for. This is the way that you're going to get advertisements on your videos. And you can't necessarily control which advertisements get paid out. It's all based off of YouTube tracking and Google tracking, based off of the individual user's search history. So there's a lot of fine line about that. So if you're watching a lot of kid videos, you're most likely going to get served like a kid-related video. If you're watching more, adult, mature theme, you might get like a beer ad or something like that. So that's how that works. And of course, there's a $100 threshold before paying out. All right, so I talked a little bit more about partnership earlier. There's things called MCNs, multi-channel networks. I don't know if you've heard of some of them before, Broadband, Machinima, TGN, Full Screen Maker. They're all out there and they pride themselves on helping out smaller YouTubers build a fan base, whether it be offering services like merch designs, artworks, layouts, even brand deals they do, but at the cost of a certain cut of your entire YouTube earnings. So if you take a look at it, you're gonna get cut 45% from YouTube in general, and with that 55%, you can potentially get some sort of revenue splits depending on the contracts that you wanted. They could be 60-40, where you're going to only get 60% of that 55, so that's even more of a cut. So you really have to weigh your options on what exactly an MCN can potentially do for you. Because at the end of the day, you don't necessarily need an MCN in order to be very popular. You can do it with just Google AdSense and you don't need a cut. But some of these MCNs do offer some pretty good services that you may want to look into. All right, so now that we talked a little bit about the back end stuff, let's talk about what you guys want to do. Now, it's not just gaming, we're at a gaming convention, of course, but YouTube is anything. It's makeup tutorials, it's, cars, it's whatever you want it to be. That's what you can do with YouTube. All of these things can be applied to whatever you want to make it. So what are you passionate about? And then what do you like watching on YouTube? Because that's my thing. I loved watching people play Pokemon on YouTube 10 years ago about. So that was fun. So I would watch them and then I would say, oh man, dude, this guy does something really awesome. And I think that I could do it a little bit better or I could do it a little bit different. And then of course, how are you going to name your channel? What do you want to do with your brand? And then of course, keep in mind that YouTube is very saturated with video game personalities and video game videos simply because everyone and their moms can purchase a capture card and upload a video game to YouTube. So what are you going to do differently on that? How are you going to be unique? All right, so there's a couple things I would say. There's variety content and evergreen content. So variety content is what I do on my channel, and I would say it's not the best strategy. It's playing anything I want, right? Playing anything you want is variety. It keeps it fresh. It keeps you from burning out of playing the exact same game for so long. You got your Fortnite streamers out there that's all they do, play Fortnite 8 hours, 10 hours a day. That's all that they do. And not that there's anything wrong with that. They're making a great chunk of change for it. But of course, burnout is definitely a thing. And you don't want your YouTube career to start feeling like you're dreading doing it. So I would say that evergreen content, which is the doing one thing and building an audience for it, that would probably be your best way to go. That way you have an audience that came here for you playing that game. And then once you build up an audience that they decide to stay here, they come for the game, but stick around for you. And then once you get that audience that likes you for who you are, then it'd be a lot easier to branch out and do variety. I started off with some evergreen Mario Kart content way back in the day, and then I noticed that there's all sorts of different games that are out there, and I felt that doing variety would be pretty good because if you're playing a lot of different games, you have the ability to get picked up on YouTube's algorithm a little bit more. Like if there's a brand new, a new Smash Bros game or a new Mario, whatever is new on Nintendo's aspect, like Luigi's Mansion 3 or something like that. If you start putting content out on that, it'll be searchable, and then people would be able to find your videos first. So that was my strategy with variety. But at the same time, when you have variety content, people that have subscribed because you play Fortnite
and then you stop playing Fortnite, those subscribers are going to say, well, I came here because you play Fortnite, and you're not playing Fortnite anymore, so why am I subscribed? So it's going to be like an ebb and flow of getting subscribers. So keep that in mind, and that's the main difference between both of those two. They have their pros and cons for sure. All right, next up, we're going to talk about branding. So what do you want to be called? What is your gaming channel? What is your makeup tutorial channel going to be called? I would say try to refrain from using any kind of numbers in your name. You want something, you know, that rolls off the tongue, something that someone can type out into a search bar or a search term on any kind of social media and find your stuff. And of course, if you want a great start at the beginning, reach out to some digital artists. I know there's a lot of artists over here in the Artist Alley over in the main exhibit hall that do commission work. And they could do some digital commission work, draw yourself a logo, and get you going so that you come off right at the starting line with some really, really good, high-quality art. All right, so demographics. All right, so demographics is another thing that you do want to take a look at as far as like what kind of audience do you want to reach. Everything that I do on YouTube is family friendly, right? I don't want to swear, I don't want to talk about adult themed content simply because I don't want to alienate everyone. I want to be that brand that parents can turn on the TV and be okay with their kid watching, inviting me into their household. That was my strategy. Of course, that's not everyone's strategy, that's fine. I mean, a lot of people like the adult content. The whole like people that are really loud and obnoxious and swearing, you know, that's a genre. People like that stuff. So, you know, whatever you feel that you want to do for YouTube, you got to think about what kind of audience you're going to gather from that. And are you going to alienate anyone simply by doing it that way? Of course, what kind of age group? When are you going to upload your videos? Like, for example, with me, like a lot of my stuff is family friendly and it's Nintendo content, right? We got a lot of kids that play Nintendo games and, you know, a lot of adults too. So I upload my stuff right at like an after school time. So it's like, hey, you know what? Kids are in school, upload it after that so they have something to look forward to. It doesn't make sense to upload it while they're in school. And you may also keep in mind that United States may be your biggest source of demographics, but there's the entire other side of the world. Like the UK, for example, they're 6 hours ahead. So if we put something up online at like 6 at night, then do you expect the UK to be up at midnight to watch it for you? So keep that in mind, especially once you've looked into your demographics to see where your views are coming from. And of course, gender, sure. So upload with demographics in mind, easy. All right, so social media, how many guys on social media? Yeah? Okay, a lot of you guys, good. Yeah, you just gotta use it. It's a great way of getting more traffic towards your content. Making sure that your social media tag is the same all the way throughout. So you have a Twitter handle that's the exact same thing as your Instagram handle, or your Pinterest if you use that, or anything. Any of the social media that you feel is out there, definitely do it. And if you're able to respond to messages or reply to tweets or reply to comments, that's definitely good. How many guys have had a tweet that got sent out to a content creator and then they replied to it or retweeted it? Yeah, a couple times. That feels pretty cool, right? Yeah, it's like, hey, dude, thanks for sharing. Anyway, respond to messages. I don't know if I could play this, but my beginning, I like telling this story because it was a long time ago. I don't think I can show the video, but if the video loads up, this is what I did when I first started out. It was like totally made in Windows, like Movie Maker, and I played Mario Kart in an area of my house with no lighting. And there was no capture card, so I needed a camera like pointed down on a Nintendo 3DS, which was really ridiculous. It was really funny. So what room in the house typically has no lighting? Any guys know? Closet. Closet? That's a good one. Anyone else? Bathroom, yes. So that was where my office was. Absolutely. In order to get rid of the scan lines and maximize on the lighting on this Nintendo 3DS with a camera pointing at it, I had to record in the bathroom. It was so weird. But, you know, it's humble beginnings. You know where you came from. And now with the advance in technologies and equipment, you definitely don't need to do that. So thank goodness. All right, we're going to go over here. All right, so sponsorships. As you build up your entire following, it's inevitable that people are going to reach out and try to utilize your following for their advantage, as in getting affiliate links. I know there's a lot of different people that, you know, love like Amazon affiliate links or G Fuel or any other sponsorships where you would get like a little coupon code and you get a little kickback off of potential sales. So just beware of, what kind of deals you want to subject your audience to, and if it's going to be worth your while. I mean, are people really going to buy with your checkout code of G Fuel, and are you going to get like chump change off of that? It's probably not worth it with the amount of impressions that you're getting off of G Fuel. It's not worth it in your eyes. So I would say take a look at the sponsorships that make sense to you. If sponsorships pay up front, that's really what you want. You don't want any coupon code stuff. It's not even worth your time. They're just using you for your audience and the impressions. So other than that, sometimes you're going to have to use FTC disclosures. The Federal Trade Commission requires that if any of your videos are sponsored in any way, that you have to put social media like hashtag free product, hashtag ad, just so that you're 100% clear with your audience that this is sponsored content. There's really big information on that. And then, of course, if you do land a sponsorship, you don't really want to give such negative feedback about it. You want to be tactful about everything. If it's constructive criticism versus negative feedback, just keep a level head on that stuff. All right, so computers are good, right? We need a computer to do a majority of all of this stuff. A lot of people are able to do it with just their phones, which is pretty cool. But of course, laptops and desktops are really awesome. You don't need the top of the line stuff, but there's definitely things out there that you can get for a couple $100 that will be very good for you. Even if it's just a dinky old laptop or something that you have at home, give it a shot, see what you have, see if it has the capability of running the programs that you want, then going from there. You don't necessarily have to break the bank, but if you do have the budget for it, keeping in mind processor speed, graphics card, RAM, all that stuff constantly gets upgraded. So if you guys are into gaming, there are capture devices that are going to be available to you in order to capture all the different software. 1080p 60 is the standard right now. Of course, now games are going into 4K 60, which is amazing, especially if you're able to capture that. But yeah, invest into quality output for sure. And then I use Elgato products. Of course, this one is one of the ones that I like using. It is the HD60, and then the HD60 Pro goes directly into your computer's graphics card. So either of these are going to be fine. $160 for the HD60, and then of course the $200 one is the exact same thing, but it's into your computer, so go for it. All right, in case you guys want to capture 3DS content, here's what that costs. It's actually a hard mod that people do, so that can run anywhere from $300 to $550. 3DS is a dead console, so Switch totally took that over. Anyway, audio, you want to invest into good audio too. Audio is great. You don't want to sound crackly. You don't want to sound like you're, in like a fog or anything like that. Get some crystal clear audio. The Snowball's $50. It's great entry level, great quality. And of course, moving on up to some mediocre, some mid-tier stuff right over here for Blue Yeti for like about 100 to 130. So these are some good brands, especially for entry level. Software is good, of course. You need some software in order to edit your stuff down. Video editing skills are needed, and I know of a website where you can learn video tutorials on how to edit. I think it's YouTube search, right? Yes? Okay. Yeah, you could totally do that. And you could teach yourself all this stuff. You can just look up Sony Vegas Pro tutorials, and you can just learn all of it. Adobe Photoshop tutorials. It's all on YouTube. You don't have to take any classes. And that's the beauty about YouTube, so you're able to do all that stuff. So software may be expensive. I like using XSplit. There's also an open broadcast software, OBS, that you can use in order to make different layers. If you guys look on screen over here, there's so many different layers. There's a green screen over here with me. There's a layout. There's a screen capture over here, some more artwork. And then, of course, you have all the different scenes that you can do. So, yeah, XSplit does that very well. OBS, Streamlabs OBS, those are definitely very good streaming softwares. All right, so right over here, of course, Photoshop. You got to know how to make a pretty good thumbnail, and that's what we'll go into in a little bit because thumbnails are very, very important. Other than that, if you guys are working on big, long videos that tend to be like 80 to 90 gigs long because you're recording at 4K 60, using Handbrake is a free open software where you guys can shrink the quality of files. So just thought I'd throw that out there. Audacity. There's a lot of people that use their narrations in post, and they don't do live stuff. So if you're looking at a software that's going to record your narration from your microphone, using Audacity is a great way of doing that. You can use noise removal on there in case you have a very loud fan from your PC. That'll totally help negate that. And then it's 100% free, so I love that one. All right, so now that we know a lot of the back end stuff, right? I told you about equipment, I told you about making your brand. Now it's really all about application. So now that we have all these things, how are we going to put that and apply it towards everything? Of course, there's a lot of copyright things that you got to be wary of on YouTube. If you put some copyright music on your videos, for example, you can get copyright flagged, and potentially your channel can get shut down if it's copyright striked. So knowing the copyright laws, you got to know that stuff, because YouTube will definitely crack down on it. And even if it's something that you may not think is copyright claimed, there's definitely something called content ID on YouTube, where, like, let's say, for example, Nintendo would take a voice clip or a sound clip of, like, the little mushroom 1-up, you know, that little sound clip? Let's say they took that and then they put it into YouTube and said, hey, any video that uses our sound clip, we want all the money off of every single one of those videos. And that's a thing, all right? It's not an exact thing. Nintendo's not gonna do that for the 1-up, but that's what people do. A lot of Pokemon content, if it's like the brand new stuff and there's a brand new trailer and someone uses footage of that trailer, they'll run that through YouTube's content ID and it'll scan every video in existence that matches that up, and they will give them a content ID claim, and then they'll get all the money off of it, which is super crazy. So you got to be very careful about what you put out there. All right, there's end cards. I played Super Mario Odyssey a long time ago, back when that game was really fun. End cards at the end of a video. How many of you guys have seen these on YouTube? Stuck around to the end of the video. You're like, hey, okay, cool, you made it. So yeah, there's like a good 20 seconds where you can continue to binge watch. And as a YouTuber, you want more people to binge watch your content, right? Here we go. It's the end of the video. Hey, I got something else that you can keep on watching, right? And then you click on that, you watch it at the very end. Here's another thing. How many guys have spent days just on YouTube? Days, if not hours. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's fun, right? It's free content. You don't have to pay a cable bill. Anyway, so we were talking earlier about thumbnails, right? This was a pretty fun thumbnail comparison that I made. So the bottom one was one of my very first thumbnails from like 20 whatever with New Super Mario Bros. U, and it was so convoluted, it wasn't really that exciting. And then when Pokken Tournament came out and I played that, you can see just like how different they are and what's more clickable. You've got this character that's a flagship character in the Pokemon series. He's taking up 50% of that thumbnail. Even if it's small, you know exactly what it is. And of course, you have a logo over there. You have some other things that are clickable on it. So making sure that you have a very nice looking thumbnail is very good to have. All right, other than that, more application. There's a lot of metadata that we're gonna go over, of course, and then we're gonna go into some questions after this. So metadata for YouTube is all about titles, keywords. If you're doing a video series on, like, let's say chapters of a game, this one was a Fire Emblem Fates game. How many of you guys like Fire Emblem, yeah? Yeah, there you go, some of you guys, cool. Cool. Very good franchise. It's all broken up into chapters. So I would make it, chapter 1 is a video, chapter 2 is a video. It's nice and easy and it's digestible. Of course, using keywords like walkthrough, gameplay, Fire Emblem, English, all that stuff is really good. So make sure you're on top of that. Now, descriptions are also more important for metadata as well. You guys know that on every YouTube video, there's like 3 lines that you can watch or actually read, and then you can click on the read more or the show more tab, and then there's even more stuff. So the top 3 lines are the most important. So make sure that you describe your video in the best way possible so that the YouTube SEO can actually pick that up and deliver it to more people. Now, I'm not going to go into too much on SEO, so there's a lot of trial and error that may or may work, and there's no right answer that is the crystal ball of like, how do I get my video on top of everything else? There's a lot that goes into it, and the algorithm is constantly changing. So I don't have that answer. It's just a lot of trial and error, making sure that people watch the video, and watch time is very important for that too. I like making sure that you put a lot more things into your description too, that a lot of people can continue to binge watch. I threw a whole bunch of different other playlists in there, social media links to find me on there, and a lot more information there. And then last but not least, it's not the most relevant as far as helping you out with SEO, but tags, search tags are absolutely a thing on YouTube. So if you're looking at what to put or trying to get an idea of what tags you want on your video, just type whatever game you're playing or whatever thing you're doing into the search bar, and whatever it automatically populates, those are the popular search terms that you guys can grab from. So super easy. So I typed in Fire Emblem Fates, and then the first things that came up were just the game, trailer, the OST, like the soundtrack, review, gameplay, conquest, all that stuff. And then of course use all the characters, easy. We talked about social media before. Make sure that if you're going to work, 5-6 hours on a video, 10 hours, 20 hours on a video, you want to make sure that you share that. So share it on your social media links. And of course, if you are familiar with hashtags, making a hashtag for it as well. Okay, so we're almost there. I got to take a breather. There's a lot. I know you guys are like learning so much about this YouTube stuff, but cards. How many guys have seen cards pop up on a YouTube video? In the little corner, the top right corner, there's a little eye, a little info thing. And sometimes it'll pop up and say, hey, click here for another video. On YouTube, you can put 5 cards on a video, which is pretty fun. So if you're referencing another video that you did before, and you're like, hey, remember last time on my video where I did this, you guys can find it right over there. And then of course, you would have to time on the timeline right over here where you'd want that to pop up. And it's just helping you link playlists, helping you link more videos in order to get more people to binge watch your content. All right, so let's talk about ads. Ads are going to be the main source of income for YouTube. Now, there's a lot of people that will sit through an ad because they want to help out their content creator. And then 99% of us will skip out on that ad as soon as we see it, or at least wait the 5 seconds and then click on it to skip. So making sure that if you're a content creator that worked 10 hours on a video, 1 hour on a video, whatever you worked on the video, you want to get paid for it, right? You guys, the jobs that you work in, right? You're not going to work for free, right? You got to clock in, you got to clock out, and that's what you're going to get paid for. YouTube is a little bit different because if people aren't watching the ads on your video, you're not going to get paid anything for it. So you could have worked 20 hours on one video, and that stinks if no one watches it. So a video that's 10 minutes or more, you can slap a mid-roll ad on it, and that equates to even more money if people sit through it. You never know. And then, of course, you can throw mid-roll ads wherever you want. I would say just kind of use them sparingly, sprinkle them throughout there. You don't want to add like every 2 minutes, but just be very aware that it may increase viewer abandonment. If there's a lot of ads on a video, some people get turned off on that. And of course, there's a thing called ad blocker out there, and ad blocker is a content creator's worst nightmare simply because if you're blocking the ads off a video, you're ideally watching this video for free and not giving back to the content creator who made it, which is like, hey, you know what? You worked your entire shift at your main job, and we're just not going to pay you for it. So just think about that. I mean, you guys can do whatever you want, but when it comes to your favorite YouTubers, maybe turn ad block off. Just saying. Anyway. There's more application in playlists. I do a lot of variety content on YouTube, so you can see all these different logos and different games that I play. So it's a great organization tool. So if you go to my channel, you can see, hey, you know what? We've got all these different playlists. You can binge watch them all. Go for it. And of course, likes and comments. Of course, you guys hear that all the time. Hey, be sure to like and subscribe, right? Everyone says it. I mean, it gets a little jaded after a while, but at the same time, shares and likes really do help out, especially if the shares go viral with retweeting on Twitter. A lot of people will be able to see your video a lot more, get a lot more exposure. And of course, likes definitely help out with that too, especially if people have their likes connected to their Twitter, where it automatically tweets something out that they liked that video. So really awesome. All right, here we go. So this is the part where I like to talk about interactivity. That's one of my favorite things to do on YouTube, and especially if you're starting out on YouTube, there's going to be a small community, a small knit group of people that you'll look forward to seeing all their comments and responding to them. But like as of right now, like I love just jumping onto my mobile app, and I love taking a look at all the different comments that I get every single day. And depending on what they are, I'll give it a heart. I will reply to it. If it's a question that they're asking about a video, I'll reply to that as well. So making sure that you're on top of, interacting with your audience. Have you guys ever made a comment on a video and the content creator either hearted it or replied to it at all? Yeah, a couple times. That's cool, right? Yeah, dude, senpai noticed me, right? Anyway, so that's really great when that happens. So you want to try to do that. And of course, the bigger you get, Markiplier, he's not going to reply to every single comment, right? He gets millions of those every single day. But it's good to jump in every now and then and just talk to people. Now, on top of YouTube, there's a held for review section. I can kind of put that right over there. So held for review section is really interesting because like I preface this entire presentation, the internet is generally a bad place. And YouTube does a really good job with taking bad comments that may be construed as vulgar or you name it, and just hiding it under this tab right over here. Let me see. Right over here in this tab over there. So I would highly suggest not opening that because your eyes will be opened to how bad the internet really is. And you may get scarred from that. I mean, I can't say that I haven't done that. I've done it a long time ago, and I opened it up, and some of the things that people say are just really, really mean, and it gets under your skin sometimes. But that's why I preface this, like, you need some tough skin. People are gonna say mean things, and you just gotta ignore them completely. They're just trying to get a rise out of you. Anyway, all right, more fun information other than that. So YouTube is VODs, right? Video on demand. That's the acronym for that. But of course, YouTube also does live streaming, like a whole bunch of other live streaming platforms like Twitch, DLive, Mixer, Facebook Gaming. There's all these different streaming sites out there. YouTube does it as well. They do events, which is really fun, where you can schedule an event. Like, hey, I'm going to stream on Saturday. You can put that like little event up right now, and people can hang out in the chat and wait for it to come, which is awesome. So that's what I love about events, of course, or you could just go live whenever you want to. So live streaming on YouTube is great because after the live stream is done, that entire stream becomes a video. And that video will continuously get views and likes and everything, all the metadata that happened while you were streaming, all the likes, the comments, the shares, all that metadata stays on that video when it becomes a VOD afterwards. So that's what I like about it. Whereas, you know, if you're on Twitch, I mean, VODs on Twitch really aren't that popular. People like interacting in real time. And if you recorded your VOD, if you recorded your stream on Twitch and then put it on YouTube, it's not as special. So anyway, other than that, you can earn other additional income from sponsorships or members in the YouTube. So if you guys are familiar with Twitch subs, it's the exact same concept where for $4.99 a month, you can directly support your favorite YouTuber. And then of course you can make different tiers of like a $9.99 a month. You can make a tier that's all the way up to $49 a month. And if people want to support you, they'll do it. So that's going to be directly from that. So really awesome. And of course you got super chats. How many guys have seen super chats on YouTube during streams? Yeah, that's great. So what it is you put your credit card in, you do a quick donation, and depending on how much you put over there, you're going to get a different color. You can put a little message on there, and you're going to be able to get the streamer's attention with whatever dollar amount you're going to put on. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. The only thing that I don't like about super chats is that YouTube takes 30% of it, which is pretty bad. Imagine getting a $500 super chat and getting 30% off. Ooh, right? Anyway, so us content creators have been talking and giving that feedback to YouTube that there should be some sort of tiered system instead of like big old 30%, because they're trying to cover the whole concept of transaction fees from credit cards. But when it comes to like a $500 super chat, I received a $100 super chat the other day, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Thanks so much. I'm like, dude, that was only $70. What? No, YouTube, you're taking 45% of my earnings. No. But anyway, yeah, so that's really the earnings aspect of it. And now we can go into Q&A because we've got a good 15 minutes of that. Whatever you guys want to talk about YouTube-wise, that's what I'm here for. So let's start up with any kind of questions. Yeah, right up front. Hey, what's your name? You have to say what's your name and where you're from.
Carrington, and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay, hello.
Hello. So how much do you get if someone is part of the YouTube Red? They don't see ads or anything like that, so do you still earn money for YouTube?
That's a good question, and I'll implement that into the slides over here. Absolutely, yeah, so YouTube Red is the premium service. How much you pay for that, like 10 bucks?
I think it's $10 a month.
Yeah, 10 bucks a month where you don't get served ads. Now, whenever you go to a content creator's channel and you watch their videos that would have ads on there, YouTube will give that content creator a kickback off of all the YouTube Red subscriptions. So if I look at my earnings statements, it'll say YouTube views and then YouTube Red views. Or YouTube Premium. I don't know what they branded it now, but yeah, it's not like you're using ad blocker. YouTube does give a kickback off of that, so that's good. Yeah, absolutely good question.
So I do have YouTube Premium, but I've never known if it helps or not.
Yeah, it doesn't affect anyone. You're still giving people the ad revenue, so that's good. Yeah, absolutely, without being subjected to said advertising. So that's good. In the back, hey.
What's your opinion on the YouTubers Union that's been started up?
The YouTubers Union. You'll have to give me a little bit more information on that.
So recently YouTube started to demonetize channels that had content that they didn't want to promote any longer. A lot of stuff had to do with war history, weapons, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a creators who are banding together to create a union and negotiate and do like collective bargaining with YouTube to get their financial streams back,
Yeah.
seeking legal representation, and I think they're also fighting for creators' rights more generally in terms of bogus copyright claims and other types of issues that content creators typically face.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds awesome, to be honest. So a little bit more context on that. I guess a lot of content creators and general media was calling it the adpocalypse a while ago, where a lot of advertisers were getting pretty upset that, like, let's say Mercedes had an ad, and Mercedes's ad played in front of a video that's potentially controversial or racially charged or religious or political or some sort of content that they didn't want their Mercedes ad on top of or being integrated with it, right? Then they'll say, oh, well, this Mercedes backs this, how dare you? You know what I mean? So that's exactly what triggered the adpocalypse. They're saying, well, we don't want all of our ads served on these types of videos, which is kind of what you're talking about over there. A lot of content creators got flagged for that specific content, and they got their ads pretty much removed off their entire channel because of that. So everything that I do is family friendly. I'm not going to do anything that's going to be not advertiser friendly, but there's a lot of people that did get affected by that. So if they're starting a union on that, then that's awesome. More power to them. I know that it's a fine line. If you're the big business that is YouTube, YouTube primarily makes all the money off of advertisements. So if these advertisers are going to pull out all of their ads, you've got a big problem. Your entire platform is going to essentially die if there's no ad backing for it. So I think that's great, whatever they're doing for it. I mean, I would totally be a part of something like that, because as of right now, in my specific realm, there's something called COPA. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but COPA is the Child Online Privacy Protection Act. Now, that is geared towards making sure that kids under 13 aren't being targeted ads. And in YouTube's realm, you can't have a YouTube account unless you're 13 or over. But that doesn't mean that a parent won't park their kid in front of YouTube that's under 13 and allow them to watch it, right? Or give them the tablet and then they'll just, be watching videos just as a kid. So that's the fine line that YouTube kind of crossed with COPA, Children's Online Privacy Protection. And what had happened with that was YouTube noticed that all these little kids were watching toy reviews and all these little, Elmo's ABC videos on adult accounts, which kind of tells them that there's younger kids watching that. So they took that information and started serving them kid ads. And that's where YouTube crossed the line on that. And they got hit with $150 million fine more recently. So the head CEO of YouTube said, you know what? We're going to cut all of that stuff. If you have any kind of content on YouTube that is targeting kids under 13 years old, we are going to demonetize your channel. We're not going to push out any of your videos. We're just not going to get hit by this stuff again. So that's interesting, because my content, I mean, if I'm playing Super Mario, that's E for everyone, right? Adults, we all play Mario games, right? At the same time, so do little kids. So where's the line drawn for that? And in 2020, January 1st of 2020, they're going to make the change. They're going to say, all right, well, for gaming content creators, we're going to have this information for you. Who's going to be affected by it? So if my channel essentially gets affected by that, then I've got to figure something else out, which is really weird, because at the beginning with Adpocalypse, they want you to be advertiser friendly, right? So you're not making swears and you're trying to maybe go family friendly content. And then now COPA comes on board and it's like, all right, well, you're targeting towards kids, and we don't want you to do that. So finding the middle ground is really what's going to be happening. But that's a good talking point over there. So for COPA, I'm hoping that I won't get affected by it. I don't think they're going to do anything like that. But like, if you're a channel out there that is making nursery rhyme videos or playing some really, really early childhood games, then it's obvious that you are targeting kids versus being kid friendly. Hope that makes sense. Cool. Great talking point. Yeah. Any other AMAs? Let's go. Yes.
My name is Tom from Solon, Ohio.
Hey.
I was wondering if you've heard of the RTX broadcast engine.
The RTX broadcast engine. You're going to have to tell me about that.
Basically, NVIDIA's partnered with, XSplit and OBS to design AI tools for cropping out a green screen if you don't have a green screen. So it's sort of like a green screen, and they're doing like AR models
Oh yeah, that sounds real cool. Yeah, I've seen some people do that more recently. Like there was this YouTuber that did some like motion tracking, so he's not necessarily. It was actually Beat Saber, to be honest. Like he was, he was playing Beat Saber, but like it was like an anime girl or something on there. Yeah, yeah, something like that. It sounds cool. The technology seems really awesome, and the more technology that you can kind of put into your streams, exactly like what you're saying, like green screening stuff or anything like that, it would make you stand out a little bit more. Yeah, that sounds cool, man. I'll have to pick your brain about that later. Any other questions? Yes.
So what is your daily schedule like? Do you
Okay.
record, edit, publish
Yeah.
the same day, or do you record, edit, and say this video is for 2 weeks from now?
Right, right. Okay, so there's a very good school of thought on that. A lot of you guys are curious. In our previous talk, we had one of our content creators over here say he streams for like 11, 12 hours a day, and he has like no life because he's streaming, 5 hours in the morning and 5 hours in the evening, and he can't do anything besides that. That's definitely not what you have to do for YouTube. You don't have to do that stuff. You make it whatever you want to make it. Some people only do once a week stuff, and they do okay. But you got to think of it as in, if you're a viewer and you want content from this content creator, you really want it, right? Like, I remember the last season of Game of Thrones, right? We wanted those episodes real quick just to see what it was, and then, we all got disappointed. But yeah, we want more content from there. So you make it whatever you want it. For me personally, I like making sure I have something out there every single day. That's a big commitment, putting something out there. When I used to work retail full time, I would have 2 off days during the week. And in my 2 off days during the week, I would take like a block of like 5 hours, and I would mass record videos, mass record Mario Kart or Smash Bros or anything like that. And then I would sprinkle them out throughout the week. So I would schedule one at one time of the day, next time of the day, keep on going, so that I have something for people to enjoy. And as of right now, since I'm away at, in Ohio at GDEX over here, I've got a couple of videos scheduled for the weekend. So when I come back tomorrow, I can just continue on. So it's really whatever you want to make it. But having that work-life balance is honestly the hardest part about YouTube, because you have to have personal time for yourself. And even though you think that making YouTube videos is your personal time, you really need to just step away from that sometimes. And if you have a significant other that you're balancing your time with, or if you have family obligations, or if just work-life balance is top priority, and I still haven't figured that out. I've been doing this for 7 years, and it's really hard. So just finding something that works out for you. You don't have to stream 24/7, but the more content you put out there, the more chance for growth. Hope that answers. Cool. Any other questions? We got some more. We got time. Let's go. Don't be shy. We got 5 minutes. Anything that's you're curious about? Yeah, hey.
I'm Logan. I'm from Cleveland.
Hey, Logan.
I'll be recording or streaming, playing games online with my friends, and they don't tend to filter their language.
Yeah.
And I do, and I'm trying to be like kind of family friendly. Do you have any advice for that?
Well, you can set the tone with your friends and say, look, dude, we're not swearing. I need to make this family friendly. I mean, it's your channel. Think of it as in your business, right? And whoever is going to be helping you out, that's going to be your employees. I mean, are you going to want your employees to go against your ground rules that you've set for them? I mean, that's really up to you. Or, you know what, if you don't want to make it family friendly and you just want it to be a little bit more geared towards like the teens and adults, then you can go that route too. But like I said earlier, the more that you are alienating a big chunk of YouTube, which is, kids and or, teens, you may want to think about that. I'm not going to tell you how to run your channel. There's a lot of people that are very successful with adult content out there. But you're saying that you kind of want to go family friendly with it. So it's just setting the tone with your buddies and say, hey, dude, let's not do that. Or else I got to edit it and post with, a whole bunch of bleeps and whatnot. So yeah, that reminds me. Oh, it's crazy. Nintendo. How many of you guys have played Bayonetta? Yeah, that was a cool game, right? So I missed out on Bayonetta when it came on PlayStation. And when it came out on Nintendo Switch and Wii U for Bayonetta 2, it was the coolest thing. Nintendo sent it to me, and they're like, hey, here's this game. We want you to cover it on your channel. And I'm like, wait, Bayonetta's rated M. All my stuff is family friendly. How am I going to do this? So that was like, I was torn because for one, Nintendo's like, yo, here's the game. We want you to play this. And then for me, it's like, well, here's my brand. how am I going to make a sacrifice for this? So it was really funny. I thought that Bayonetta was awesome. Bayonetta's in Smash Bros, so people know the character. So I didn't live stream it. I did it as a VOD recorded series. And every time there was a swear in a cutscene, it was so funny because I would make like a little one-up sound instead of like a bleep. And you could actually search the videos. It's really hilarious. So like whenever like Bayonetta's swearing or like the other NPCs are swearing in the cutscenes, I would have like little boing, boing. It was so much fun. And I found a good way of making it a rated M game a little bit more digestible for a family-friendly audience. There's really nothing wrong that makes it rated M other than the swearing, really. I mean, it was a great game, by the way. So, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. So you just gotta find out what you want to do, right? Cool. So go look that up. Seriously, just watch Bayonetta Part 1, watch the cutscenes, and you'll be laughing. There was one time where one of the NPCs just dropped an F-bomb, and then I just did the Mario saying, Mamma Mia. It was so good. Yeah, what was that? Yes, Enzo, that guy. Oh, he was swearing every other word, man. It was annoying in post. Anyway, yeah, we got a couple more minutes. For any kind of questions. Feel free. We're here. Yes. What are you thinking about? Yes.
I'm Matt. I'm from State College, Pennsylvania.
Hey, hey.
And what do you think, as far as leveling out your life towards you want to do YouTube, what do you think would be like a good starting out point? Maybe like 3 videos a week?
Yeah, I mean, whatever you're comfortable with, man. Yeah, I mean, it's really what you have time for. Yeah, I would say just take a look at your actual schedule and what you honestly have time to make. And if it's going to be, hey, I'm going to play this game and the game takes about maybe 10 hours to beat from start to finish, I would personally do a lot of planning. And it's hard to do with newer games, right? Like Luigi's Mansion is going to be the newest game that I'm going to be playing now. I don't really know how I'm going to segment it because I haven't beaten it. You know what I mean? If you're planning on playing a game that you already know it, front and back, then that's going to be really easy because you can say, all right, well, if I break it up into 10 different parts and each part's going to be half an hour long, and then I can say, all right, well, we could do a part a day, a part every other day, and depending on how long it takes you to make said parts and upload and all that stuff. So it's very tough to actually make that decision. Yeah. Hopefully that helps out. Sure. We got time for like one more. Yes.
So how do you balance your content versus maybe if you ended up collabing with another creator? Like how often would you say you try and make content with other YouTubers?
Oh, yeah. Collabing is really good on YouTube simply because you can mesh together two audiences. So I would say that the things with collabing that you want to do is you want to iron out all the details up first to say, all right, so if I'm going to have you on my channel, this is giving you, a lot of, exposure to my audience. So what's in it for me? As as ruthless as that sounds, that's really what it has to be, or else you're going to get burnt. And I've been burnt a couple times where I'm like, all right, dude, you can come on my channel, and then I'll be a special guest on your channel, and then that never happens. And then it gets really convoluted when money's involved, because it's like, all right, well, that person was a guest on your channel. Are they entitled to half of the earnings on that video? I mean, what's the deal? How is earnings going to work? So getting all that stuff straightened at the beginning, and even going so far as to sign a contract saying, hey, you know what? This is everything lined out. If you're good with it, cool, and sign it. Come on back, so that you have that. I mean, that's going to the far extreme. If you have a buddy that's just like, you don't really care and just come on board, then that's fine. But if it's for the things, I would say definitely, write up a draft of what is the expectation, and then just so it's 100% clear. Because like I said, I've had times where I would do a collab and I would promote the other person's channel on an info card, an end screen element, descriptions. I would tweet it, put it all on social to send so much traffic towards his audience. But on his side, he didn't do any of that stuff. So from his audience, they didn't even see me, which was really bad. So it was just a bad example, but I'm sure there are tons of good examples out there where you can get someone on the same route as you so that it's a mutually beneficial collaboration rather than just the one-sided. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you learned a little bit more. I know I threw out a whole bunch of information about YouTube. You guys are probably spinning your heads right now, but that's okay. It's going to be a fun time. You guys can feel free to subscribe. You guys all have my business card. Have fun with it. Pop in the chat. Say, hey, I was over here from GDEX. I loved your talk. And that would be really cool. So I'll make sure I heart all those comments.